Check it. I don't know who my real dad is. If he hears this, I hope he's embarrassed. Grew up with my half brother in school and we didn't even know, that's the maddest. Man, what a challenge. I feel like I've been battered and bruised and fed loads of lies and confusion. I feel like I'm fighting a battle and losing. But it's not all been bad. There's a man in my life who I still call dad. Ever since young, he's all I've had. And no matter what, he's got my back. He's all I've known since about yay high. If I say jump, he'd say how high.
Right, hello my people. We are back once again. Your host for today, Nathaniel James, on the Walk a Mile in My Shoes podcast. Firstly, before we get into the podcast, I'd like to shout out the first sponsor of the show, which is Patsy's Sea Moss Gel. It's really, really good for you. Lots of health benefits. If you would like to take some of the sea moss, then make sure you go onto the Instagram page, which will be Patsy's Irish Sea Moss Gel. If you put that in Instagram, it will come up. So today I have a special guest with me who goes by the name of
Swifty.
Swifty. Yes, Swifty.
What's going on?
Respect for coming on the show, brother.
Oh, man,
How are you?
pleasure. I'm good, man.
Good, yeah? Good, yeah?
Just chilling, yeah.
So for the viewers who may not know you, just a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, where you come from, and what you're going to talk to me about today.
So I think mainly we'll just touch upon the previous history in my music background.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about how I'm going to come across with my new music and my new style. Everything's just like a complete fresh start.
Okay.
I'm from Birmingham, from South Birmingham, 25. Took a bit of time out from the music, and now it's time to come back and start making some noise again.
Okay, okay. I'm loving that energy, brother. So, how long have you been making music for?
I've been making music since year 11 in school, which was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it's been a fair while, man, really.
Okay. So did you just start off just writing bars with your friends?
You know what it was? There was a group at school. And there was about 3 MCs in that little group. And I used to always see them like congregating in one little area. And I'd always be a bit curious, man, like, what's going on? Like, what's this all about?
Yeah, yeah.
And then one day I ended up getting involved and going over and, like, seeing what it was all about. And I seen all these men, like, spitting bars and that. And I was like, all right, then, cool. So I grew up listening to a lot of music anyway.
Okay.
Like, from young, I've always listened to music. And
what was your music influences? Like
what I used to listen to, like, back in the day.
Yeah,
back in the day, it was just mainly, like, Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Tupac.
Here's more hip-hop.
Biggie. Yeah, like, I loved my hip-hop. And I never really got into the urban music side of things. It was always like that mainstream. And then when I got involved with that group that was spitting bars and making music, it was in my music lesson the one day.
Okay.
And I was doing some projects for my exams and that, and my head just turned, and I was like, I don't want to do this, like playing the keyboard or playing the drums. I was playing the drums at the time. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get into the studio and I'm going to try something myself. And I did. And it kind of just stemmed from that, really.
Okay.
And it was more about the people that I was surrounding myself with. That was just kind of feeding off their energy and kind of developed my own path, really.
So obviously you grew up and your influences was hip-hop. Is that the genre that you first started with?
Nah, the genre that I first started with was almost like a slow grime.
Okay.
That kind of tempo. And at the time, I didn't really know what grime was.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the 140 BPM tempo.
Yeah.
And that, so it was just, oh yeah, that beat sounds sick. I'm going to do something to that. And that was pretty much it, man, really.
So did you like, where did you access studio? Where was you?
So there was a studio in with the new school that was built. It was an old school that I was at, and then they built a new building. They built a music studio in there, and the quality was awful. Like if you look, if you look back now, the quality was awful. It's nothing like you'll
Do you think it was down to the mic, or do you think it was down to more?
I think it was just the general build, mate. It was just like a normal room, no soundproofing. There was just a mic and a stand and a Mac. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
There was no studio interfaces. I think it might have even been a USB mic or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But
it's like a very low budget studio and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
did you who mixed down your songs for you then, or did you and your friends record yourself?
You know what? We didn't even know about mixing.
Okay.
We do nothing. It was just pure raw vocals. Like you can hear people moving their bags in the background and everything.
Yeah.
It was awful looking back, really. But
so that was your first experience of a studio in school.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, So what happened after school then? So you started in school. You left school.
Yeah, I ended up buying a little studio at home.
Okay.
So I had my own like USB mic and my laptop is what I was
Nice.
working off really, and there was a program called Cool Edit Pro
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
I
used to
remember that.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah, old school,
Old school.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was just like basic mixing on there, and then
Mm.
it was the people again that I was surrounding myself with. They taught me how to mix, and then I started mixing down my own stuff, and then I think predominantly I was using SoundCloud at the time, so it was all SoundCloud.
Did you ever use MySpace?
I used MySpace in 2009,
Okay. So
and
you was coming on the tail end of it.
I remember it because I used to call it 2000 and grime, and that
Okay.
was when I found grime music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's how I remember 2009.
Yeah,
But
everyone used to say that 2000
2000 and grime.
Yeah.
To me, I thought I made that up. You get what I mean? And then I started hearing it about, and then I was like, I didn't make that up. It just happened that
everyone's
everyone's
saying
already
it.
chatting about it. Yeah, and I used to go ice skating on the weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sundays, every week, and I bumped into a few DJs there,
Okay.
and I bumped into another MC, and then I ended up becoming like best friends with that guy,
Yeah.
and we used to always bang out just like random mixes and that on MySpace, probably spitting the same 16 bars over and over,
Yeah.
and it just become one of them things. It become more popular, and like people at ice skating used to turn around and like they'd know who we was then, like
Okay.
because we was there so often.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of become a regular face, and everyone gets to know everyone. So that's where it kind of went from there, and then I met Sam, who's Ozone Media,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and he supported me from day. He's always been like, "You've got something, you've got something, you've got something. Let's keep going." Blah blah blah. So then I started working with Ozone and Lyrical Media as well.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
Crazer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big up Crazy.
Yeah,
Coming on the
of
show
course,
soon.
of
Big
course.
up Crazy.
Crazer recognised me from early as well, and it was Crazer that actually done my first video.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
I'm in the
I think
pro.
I remember that still. Yeah.
Yeah, it was old. God knows, I'm probably about 14,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking about 9 in
Yeah,
that
you look
video.
mad young. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of just stemmed from that. My target was was the videos that I was recording at the time for like freestyle videos and music videos was all like 720p off a phone camera. And then I remember when Sparkerman come about with his iLyrics
Yeah,
Media.
yeah, we got Sparkerman.
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course. And I was thinking, yo, these man have got like 1080p videos. Like this is high quality videos. And I was like, I want to get myself a 1080p video.
Okay.
So then I did, and that was through Ozone then. And then I went out to do a spray out sessions the once in town. That was a channel that was about quite a bit,
I remember that one as well.
and that was my first proper video that got shared about a fair amount, like, and it grabbed some decent views, and I kind of just fell in love with it. Then it was at the time it was all about how many views can I get, how many views I can get. Now I couldn't really care less how many views that I'm getting.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's like a message now.
It's a message that I'm sending out, and if the message is positive and people are relating to that message, they're gonna share it. They're gonna drop a comment. They're gonna give a like. You can't always just put something out there and expect everyone to like it and everyone to relate to it, because it isn't gonna work like that.
I think one of the things that I identified with you is that your work rate, you was on point, like you was always seem to be doing something or putting yourself in places where you'll be seen to get other roles and other positions. So something that I remember you doing something with Big Mikey, was it, when you started doing like clashes and stuff like that?
Yeah. So
was that like around that time, or was that later on?
That was ages after that. Was between that, it was just constantly hitting up studio and just uploading to YouTube, just like little songs that I'd done here and there, and it was mainly just like that. But then Ozone was recording videos for Big Mikey, and obviously me and Ozone go way back, and he recognised like from a previous clashing and whatnot through music videos, and he was like, "You need to get on Prize Fighter. You need to get on Prize." So I did.
So what was, for the people that don't know, what was Prize Fighter about?
So Prize Fighter is basically a platform that have MCs from all over the country travel down to Birmingham at Silk City Studio, Silk City Radio.
Big up Silk City, man, part of the foundation.
And to me, obviously, I started watching all like the Prize Fighter 1, Prize Fighter 2, and I was watching all this and I was thinking there's some sick MCs on here.
Yeah,
I was thinking, and I kind of doubted myself a little bit. I was thinking, am I good enough to step up to this? And Ozone put me forward through to Big Mikey, and Big Mikey was like, "Yeah, man, come down. Let's see what you've got," kind of thing. So I did. My first one it weren't very successful. I think I went out in like the first round,
Okay.
and it was kind of a little bit of a pushback. So within that pushback, then I carried on doing my thing, making my own music videos, and I was editing my music videos myself, filming them myself. And I kind of built my confidence back up, and I went back to Prize Fighter again, and this was Prize Fighter 7, I think.
Okay. So you was on
Um,
one of the earlier ones, and then
yeah, and then I come back again, and again the next time it weren't that great, so I think I lost in the first round again.
okay.
So I was like, right, and by this time Mike had introduced something called a Prize Fighter Rumble, where it's all the MCs that are on that series
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
come
yeah.
back at the end and battle it out against
Yeah.
everybody. So I had a numerous amounts of 16s. I was overly prepared for everyone to come into that studio, and I was going to go in every single person that stood in my way.
Yeah.
And the only people that turned up, there was like only 3 artists that turned up out of the 8 that was on there.
Okay.
And if I look back at it, I stood out big time. Like, if I look back, I don't want to blow my own trumpet or anything, but if you look back at the video, and Mikey at the end, big Mikey, at the end of the whole clash, and he goes, he can see a clear winner. And at the time, I was thinking, I ain't got this, man. I was thinking there was someone else that was better than me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when he was like, Prize Fighter Rumble champion Swifty, I was like, rah.
Oh, yeah.
I went up to Mike and I went, that trophy for me?
Mhm.
Like, is that me? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Swift, that's you. And I was like, safe, man. And I think that was the last thing that I'd done before
Okay.
I kind of put the nail in the coffin and stopped music for a bit, which
Okay.
was a bit of a daft move, really. But I feel like I needed to.
So at the time, in terms of the Birmingham music culture, all right, on YouTube we had Grind Blog.
Yeah,
What else did we have? Flush Raw.
I remember Flush.
Raw. We had Word on Road. Word on Road was doing videos
Yeah.
and that as well. But that's what we have for YouTube. But in terms of pushing the culture, like it was Silk City.
Yeah,
And it was at that time when everybody in London had transitioned over to your pop and your kind of like popular music. And
well, yeah, you had Chipmunk that went pop, didn't he?
Yeah,
he
like
went a bit
all the
commercial.
grime artists then were trying to get them 360 deals, and it was like
Yeah.
obviously the people who was involved in them deals were like, grime is never gonna survive mainstream.
Yeah.
So in terms of for grime, it was Birmingham, Nottingham, Manchester as well. And from London, sorry, I can't forget Big Nasty and the BDL and all that. They went ham. They was like, I ain't conforming. And if you don't want to book us, we'll create our own shows.
I mean, as much as people say grime ain't going to succeed, just use Big Nasty for an example.
This is it.
He's had his own TV show and
Yeah,
that, you know what
yeah.
I mean? And
he's saying
he's gone on to do
within
some
the
big things as
culture,
well. And he hasn't changed. He's kept it grime and he's done what he does. And he's made a success from it.
But I think in terms of Big Nasty, what helped him is that his personality in it.
Oh,
so when he's done the whole Uncle Payne thing, people are just thinking, oh, this chubby guy.
See, now, I used to watch them Uncle Payne videos just crying, man.
But people didn't realise that this guy is super talented at music as well.
Yeah.
So when he merged all the traffics together, it turned out that he's got more of a pull than your mainstream guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I didn't even have. Like, I'm glad I never done this because I ain't sold out. I ain't took a deal. I ain't been shelved. He's been able to do everything that he wanted to do. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So for people like that, that is like a real big benchmark for people who want to do music and they think, oh, you know what, my music's not desirable. It might not be desirable to that person, but there's somebody else or somebody in a different country
100.
might like your music. You could have a buzz in Germany or whatever.
Exactly.
So you said that you stopped music. Like, what was the reason around stopping music?
It was, I felt like I'd got myself into a position where it was nothing but negative energy, and I just felt like I was clashing everybody all the time. And it kind of, I feel like I almost got looked at in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, you know what, it's time to take some time out and refresh, recalibrate, spend some time with my wife, spend some time with my kids, and come back to it when the time's right.
Do
you know what I mean? I needed that time out to just, I had other stuff going on as well. But I needed to deal with all that, and trying to balance that and music at the same time, it just wouldn't have worked. I needed that time to just, like I say, recalibrate and come back to it with a completely fresh attitude.
So it's so in your time out, like what was the things that you was doing there?
So it was mainly just spending time with my kids,
I
you know, like, just like days out with the family and whatnot, and like spending time with my nan and granddad and my mom and my dad. I was just spending a lot of family time and just focusing on my career, focusing on my work and that, and just going about my day-to-day business as if music was never there. So
So you like you said, you had a time where you come off social media
yeah,
completely
I
and
did.
stuff like that.
I did.
Did you have people trying to like reach out or thinking like, where's Swifty gone? Like how what?
I've noticed that people were trying to reach out now that I've come back to music and
Okay.
now that I'm back on social media platforms. All I literally had, I deleted my Facebook, my Snapchat, my Instagram, my Twitter. I deleted everything. And then I literally had just a Facebook profile, completely private,
Yeah, yeah.
only family members on there and very
Okay.
close friends. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it
So
was
the
just I
people
could
who
still
needed to.
still interact with the people that I needed.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like there's people that I did need, but I didn't need to stay in contact.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
More of an associate then.
yeah, exactly.
So in terms of like your life and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? Like I listened to your recent video that you dropped. It's Pain Relief.
Yeah,
On
JDZ Media.
JDZ
Shout
Media.
out to JDZ Media.
Yeah, man, big up Jake, man, my bro. Listen, if people, if you haven't heard it already, make sure you go onto JDZ Media and check out Swifty's Pain Relief. How long's it been out for?
It's been out for 2 weeks
It's been
now.
out for 2 weeks
Been
now.
out for
Do you know
2
what I mean?
weeks.
But I watched it and I was like, "Raw, this is so deep." I wasn't expecting the that kind of level of lyricism that you came with, and but in a conscious way. Like
Yeah.
you was when I used to watch you, was very hype. It was
Yeah.
aggressive. It was like raw in your face,
Yeah,
aura.
yeah.
But this one's like laid back. You're
Yeah.
sitting down and you're talking about personal experiences that you've been through. Like, firstly, how did you feel when you wrote that? When you wrote that.
I'll be honest, I was writing that for a very long time.
Okay.
It's something that don't get like I found out that whole situation back when I was like 13 years old,
Okay.
and I never really dealt with it.
Mhm.
I just kind of left it and left it and left it, and then it just kind of come to light again a little bit, and I was like, I need to voice my opinion on this
Mhm.
because I know that I ain't the only person that's in that situation.
Mm.
There's millions of people out there that don't know who their real dad is,
Mhm.
and they have a man that's brought them up from what they can remember.
Mm.
And I was like, do you know what? This is probably the perfect thing to put out as kind of the comeback
Yeah, yeah.
and just show people that I'm not about this negative stuff no more.
Mhm.
I'm here to spread a positive message
Mm.
and just talk some realness is basically all I want to do.
Yeah, yeah. No, fair play to you, man. Like, and I like I say, music like that, I really appreciate
Yeah.
that kind of music. Do you know what I mean? So with the whole situation, like, how did you feel growing up?
Do you know
and
what?
with your father's situation?
I never thought anything of it because the man that raised me, I'd never say that he was no father to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for all I care, he's blood.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's dad, and that's it.
Mm.
Obviously my biological father, but that's a completely different story. And he just didn't want to know basically. And obviously in my JDZ, I talk about how I can see photos of him on his Facebook with his children, and one of them being my half brother, which I grew up in school with, which is just crazy.
Mad.
Like,
And you never knew.
and he was part of the group that was rapping when I first started,
Right.
and
you didn't even know it was your brother.
not a clue until I left school.
Wow.
It was only, obviously, like I say, I found out the whole situation when I was 13.
Mhm.
Then after school, obviously I was like 16, 17. I backtracked and I just checked on my real dad's my Facebook profile just to have like a little bit of insight,
Mm.
and I saw a photo of him on there, and then it clicked with the surnames, and I was like, no way.
So all that
One of the
time-
lads that I grew up with in school that I was mates with,
That's your brother.
that's like my half brother, and I didn't even know,
That's mad.
and it was a shock more than anything.
If you
and-
spoke to your brother now.
I spoke to him about it, and he was like, yeah, like it's a mad situation. Like he didn't expect it. I don't think none of us expected it really. And what was mad is my half brother played for my other brother's football team.
Oh my god, that's mad.
So any times that I'd go to watch my little brother play,
you watching your other brother as well?
I'm watching my other brother play, and my real dad's there, and I didn't even know.
Oh, you didn't even know.
That's mad.
That's mad.
So obviously looking back now, I'm thinking, wow, his dad was there, and that's my biological dad. And like looking back, it's just mental.
It made you feel angry.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even say it made me feel angry. It made me feel more disappointed. The fact that, like, in my position, if I was to have, say I don't have any children right now, and I had a child with somebody, like, I could never not be there. So for my 3 girls that I've got, like, I'd never think about leaving their side at all. And to me, that's what a dad is. And so, yeah, like I say, I felt a bit disappointed in the fact that he was the kind of person that didn't want to stick around for his child. But I'm not that person.
That's it. So,
and I needed to voice my opinion on it, and I did. And to me, like I said, at the end of my JDZ, I say this track is my full stop. So that's me putting the lid on the jar, and like, right, I've dealt with that now. Like, that was something that's been playing on my mind and whatnot, as it would to anybody. Like I say, to me, that's the lid on the jar, put it on the shelf. That's one thing dealt with. I've got more to talk about, and more will come.
Okay.
But that's how I want to spread my message this time round.
I'm glad that you kind of use that as the first thing to address that, because obviously that is very a traumatic experience. As you're older now and as you've got kids, that would help you more. Like, it's easier for you because you think, you know what, all right, he wasn't there for me, but you know what, I'm going to right his wrongs. I'm going to make sure that I'm nothing like him. Do you know what I mean? But you grew, so all along, you didn't know that your biological, okay, so even that within itself, that's just mad, ain't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's a lot for somebody to get through. And this is why I say you're a glowing example of, this is why music is such a powerful tool. This is why music should be used in a therapeutic way, because you was able to then express how you feel, pull it out there. He might even hear that and feel like, wow.
There's a part of me that's hoping that he hears it.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that I think, is it worth it? So now I've thought about sending it him and just seeing what his reaction is. But again, there's a part of me that wants to hold that back and be like, do you know what? He ain't worth the breath. I voiced my opinion. If he listens to it, he listens to it. Whatever. If he catches feelings over it, not my problem. You get what I mean? It'd be nice for him to understand how it feels.
But to be fair, you are right. If it's for him to reach out to you. Do you know what I'm saying?
And I did reach out to him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm working away. I'm back in 2 weeks. We'll meet up. We'll have a pint." This was all before COVID. He's like, yeah, when I come back from work, we'll meet up, we'll have a pint, we'll talk over it. I was like, all right, cool, fair enough. Like, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I left it about 2 or 3 weeks, still hadn't heard anything, so I was like, all right, cool. So I messaged him, I was like, you still up for meeting up? Blocked me. I was like, what a lame excuse of a man, in my opinion. Like,
you know, for him, that's what it probably is. He's got so much shame, bro, that he don't want to face it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know what, he's probably embarrassed about what he done.
Yeah.
And not everyone would react the way I've reacted. People will just bury it and just leave it. But I'm the type of person that will voice my opinion if I feel it needs to be voiced, and it was something that I felt.
It's a good job you are like that, because a lot of people do keep that in and it eats away at them. Do you know what I mean? It's like it blocks them from being their true selves. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have no relationship with my father, and obviously now I'm an adult, don't hurt as much. But when I was younger, then when I got into, I think it was probably about 20 and stuff like that, started to unravel that I've got all these brothers and sisters all over the place. There's been issues where I could have potentially fought my brother in a club, but I knew one of his friends from college and we squashed it. And then when we linked up, it's like, hold on, didn't you go to such and such club and knew this person? And then we realised that, rah, we was actually going to fight in town. Do you know what I mean? Erdington V's village. It was mad. And that made me even more angry, because I was like, if I knew that you was my brother, do you know what I mean? I would have embraced you. It wouldn't have been like, oh, is he looking at, or whatever. So I always say that, you know what, if you're going to have kids all over the gaff, at least let the kids know who's who. Even worst case scenario, you could have a sister out there, end up getting with her, and then find out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But you're talking truth, man. This happens.
So
and there is people out there that probably have with their half sister. You get what I'm saying?
Fall in love and then find out, whoa, you two can't be in love. Do you not know that such and
then they start linking stories, and then they realise what's actually happening. And if anything, you probably feel ashamed of yourself, wouldn't you?
Of course. So
it's a crazy
fathers
situation
out there, make sure you take heed of this. You know what I mean? If you want to go out there and have kids all over the gaff, all right, cool. But one, look after your kids and at least let them know who's who. Do you know what I mean? So
there's one thing that, like, I worried about, like, when I looked back on everything, I was thinking, if it wasn't for my dad bringing me up, not my biological dad, but the man that raised me, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the father that I am today. Now, if I'd have took a leaf out of my biological dad's book, how would I have reacted if I'd have had a child and left? You get what I'm saying? And to me, that just screams embarrassment, man. Like, I'd feel nothing but embarrassed and ashamed.
Because we always, you know, when we're young, we're impressionable. We're always looking for that role model.
Yeah.
You don't have that role model, and you're in certain situations, and you think, well, you know what, my dad left me, so it's just normal, isn't it?
Yeah, I count myself like extremely lucky that I had someone who raised me. Do you get what I mean? So it's just one of them. Like, I can never show my appreciation enough to my dad. Just like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be the person that I am, and the father that I am. So
like, because obviously this is quite deep, and I haven't really spoke to anybody like this. If there's anybody out there that's in this kind of situation and stuff like that, do you got any advice for them of how, do you know what I mean, to cope in that kind of, because a lot of it, sometimes I feel like it's rejection. A lot of do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did have that feeling of rejection. Like I say, when I'd gone back through his Facebook and I'd seen photos of him and his kids at Disneyland and this, and I was thinking, right, he loves his kids. So then that got me thinking, like, well, what was different? What was different here? Do you get what I mean? So it was just a case of kind of brushing it off, and I did try to bury it, but like you said, it just eats you up, and I had to voice my opinion. So my advice to anybody who's in this situation would probably be, just write it down. Write down how you feel. You know, we don't all make music. If you make music, voice it in your tracks. Let out your pain, because release is probably the best medicine that you could possibly have.
100%. And I feel like you say, you don't have to be a musician. You could journal. You could have a diary.
Exactly.
You could, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's loads of different ways that you can deal with what you're going through. And like I say, by doing, like, let's say a blog or a vlog or whatever, and then putting it out there, you can help somebody. Somebody's gonna go, whoa, there's somebody out there that I can relate to who has gone through what I've been through, but you know what, they've managed to turn things around.
And that's it, man. Like with my JDZ, you know, I'm happy if someone's in that situation. They want to reach out to me. Reach out to me.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
like, I'll help you in any way that I can.
That's it, bro. And paying it forward.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because obviously everyone deals with demons. Like, everyone has their own battles in life, and it's about how you deal with them and your strategies. But if you're struggling, get in touch. It's not a problem.
So, what did you have to, obviously your music is a massive part, your family is a massive part, but what else did you go through to get you to this mindset that you're in now? Because I feel like now you're in a positive place and that
definitely.
kind of stuff. But what did you do to work on yourself to get yourself to
I think again, what it was in my previous music, I just kept myself in this mind frame as, no one can touch me. Like, don't try battle me, because it ain't gonna work out well. And I was in that kind of mind frame, like I was ready to take on anybody. And the time out with my family and my children, it's just kind of humbled me, and it's made me realise, like, set things in life aren't there forever. So treasure the time that you've got with your family, and my music is a counterbalance to that. So I spend my time with my family and my kids. I make music in my spare time. My career, my work is my main focus point, alongside family, obviously, because it's everyone's main source of income. If this music thing works, sweet, I am happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just about keeping the ball rolling and just making sure everything is as you want it to be. So, say for example, I go out and I release something that not everybody agrees with. Who cares?
Because it could be
it's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm entitled to my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Just how you voice it is completely different and completely up to the person that wants to voice it.
Okay, so that's a lot of, we covered a lot around your past and stuff like that. But what about the future then? What do you want to do?
I have a lot of plans for the future. Whether they happen or not's another story, but it's all about the drive, having the right mentality and the right mind frame to go and do it. So I've been in touch with people pretty much all over the UK since my return, that have been getting in touch and saying, Like, I really appreciate that JDZ. Like, the lyrics, the content, the pain is all real, and a lot of people respect real music.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, I'm looking to head up. I'm not coming back and doing a JDZ for me is massive. And to be honest, I did not expect that to be my first video back. I do have a grime song that's released and the music video is recorded for it. Sorry, it's not released. It's recorded and everything ready for release. It's just not coming out yet. Originally, that was going to be my comeback.
Okay.
But I'm holding on to that now. That's just going to be released at some point in the next few weeks, hopefully. And that's basically there just to show I can still do this grime thing. So please don't try and test. Do you know what I mean?
Bring the old Swifty back.
Like, I can still do it. So don't try and poke and prod and get that reaction. I'm still here. Like, I can still be that clashing animal.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't want to be. I want to spread a positive message and just keep everything sweet. Everyone tuned in and everyone, you know, people that can't relate to my dad's song that I've done on JD2, they'll be able to relate to my next one. Or maybe the one after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm looking to reach out to a big audience and just have all these people that can listen to my music and just expect nothing but realness. Because there's a lot of people out there that talk real, but they're talking about what they do on the roads and, like, you know, chasing down ops and this and that and this and that, and that doesn't interest me. Like, having a family and kids, it just changes your whole outlook on life. Yeah, it's completely different. Because if I, obviously, like I said, I'm going through the process of getting all my old music taken down because I don't want my kids to see that. Because if my kids see that, they're gonna start asking questions.
Yeah, fair.
Whereas now they can turn around and see my new music that's positive and somewhat uplifting, and they're gonna be able to say, like, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
you get what I mean? That's my goal. I want my kids to be proud of the music that I make and my family to be proud. And they have done with my JDZ, but I'm looking to get onto, like, Link Up TV or Mixtape Madness, maybe at SBTV, and just start heading up. I'm looking to branch out now.
Okay.
You know, if a record label comes along, sweet, as long as everything's right and it's suitable for me, I'm happy to go with, and just keep the ball rolling. Like I said, if it works, it works, and I want it to work. But if it doesn't, I'm not going to be disheartened about it.
That's it, bro.
You've
already got your foundation behind you.
I've still got everything that I need. Music would just add that extra for me.
So when you took time out, was you keeping your eye on the Birmingham music?
Yeah, I was.
Like
I was still just popping in and out of YouTube and just checking on set channels just to see who's doing what.
So what do you
I'm
think?
still
What do you
interested,
think of
like,
what do you think of the Birmingham music scene?
I think it's doing bits at the minute.
Okay.
I think right now it's probably making more noise than it ever has.
Okay.
So you've got your likes of JK, Lady Leisha, Mist. They're all doing big things.
Got Millions as well.
Exactly.
Millions is
Yeah.
hitting some crazy numbers.
For real, exactly.
Do you think that there's unity within our scene?
I don't think there is. I think that's what this Birmingham scene needs.
Do you think that that's what the missing piece is?
Because if you go and take JK, for example, he ain't going to work with someone who's probably at my level at the minute. And I think that's what it needs. I'm not saying collab with JK, but I'm just saying that artists that are more developed and in bigger positions, they should bring through the other Birmingham artists, because there's a lot of talent in Birmingham, and there's a lot of talent that don't voice their talent. They don't show it. So, you know, you've got Billy Joe down the road who spits bars, and he's probably better than most of the people that I listen to. Do you know what I mean? And it's
because he doesn't have a platform.
Because he doesn't have the platform.
Oh, well, I'm not going to blur.
Or do you know what it is? Anxiety comes into it. Because if he was to put something out there and he suffers with anxiety, just for an example, he's going to be thinking, what are these men thinking of me? And he's going to be putting himself down.
He's going to be all up in the comments. And
I went through depression and anxiety, and I still suffer with it mildly, but my anxiety was through the roof. I back when I was making all the negative music, like, I don't feel that I could have gone shopping in town with my wife or my partner and my kids without feeling 100% safe. You get what I mean? Because I'd said some bad things in my old music, And
Do you think that
it put me in a situation where I'm thinking, wow, I'm gonna have to fight, man, in front of my family, and I don't want to do that. Like, my kids shouldn't be seeing stuff like that, and especially like if you're out shopping for Christmas or whatever, you shouldn't be put in them
when you've
situations.
done a lot of that negative music, do you feel like you got a lot of hate for it then?
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of hate surrounding it.
Why
But
though? Why do you think?
I think that's expected because when you're gunning for so many people, and the way I saw it was, take out these MCs and I'm at the top. That's the way I kind of saw it, but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And somewhat it's an immature mind frame to be in. So I think by making real music now and keeping it real, that's going to bring me more success than my previous music ever did. The way to the top is real. Keep it real.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of artists go wrong, that they don't understand about vibrations. You know what I mean? Vibrations in music are what you, it's the whole same thing. What you put out there, you comes back to you. Do you know what I mean? So if you're putting out bare negative music and gunning man down and saying, yo, your mum's this and rare. All right, at the radio station, it might have been cool. But Mikey's not there no more. Mikey can't save you no more and say, yo, it's a clashes for the sport. All man's are saying is like thinking in their head, everyone's laughing at me because these little small geezer Swifty murked my mum. So when I see him, I make an example out of him so I can go back to the man and be like, you know what? He said this about my mum, but look at this video. I battered him in town. And that's kind of how it goes. It's the same with the drill. People are goading each other and jumping on videos and getting 100k, 200k, 300k. Man's at home thinking, bro, 300,000 people have heard my man say, S your mum. Yeah?
You're going to do something about
when
it.
When I see him, it's on site. Just for all them views of people laughing about my mum, I'm going to beat you down. Or I'm going to, not even a beat down, I'm going to chef you. I'm going to shank you up.
Yeah, for real. And there's a lot of that as well.
People don't realise that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you realised it at an early date. Do you know what I mean? And to understand that.
I was involved with a group, because what it was, I grew up in Shard End.
Yeah.
And when I first put out my music, there was a lot of hate then. It was always, you'll never make something of yourself.
Yeah.
You'll never be this. You'll never do this.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where my determination come from.
Okay.
I set it on, do you know what? These men are doubting me. Let me show them that I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I have. Like, I've been on BBC West Midlands introducing.
Okay.
And I've had a play on One Extra.
Okay, nice.
So
little
just that itself, I can turn around to them, man, and go, look what I've done. You said I'd never do this.
Yeah.
And that's where my drive come from.
Yeah.
That's why my work rate was so high.
Okay.
I can guarantee every month there was at least 2 things that dropped. At least. And it was all about just keeping the momentum, keeping the train moving, and constantly putting stuff out there.
I think that's probably where you probably went wrong a little bit, where it was your fuel was coming from people saying you couldn't make it, rather than just doing it for the love and being like, you know what, I don't care. Like, what are you, man, doing?
Don't get me wrong, like I loved making music, and I still do, and I probably always will.
That's why you've come back, obviously.
The love for music will never go away. I forgot my whole arm is covered in musical notes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, music ain't ever going away. I'm going to be there in a care home, bro, and I'm going to be looking, thinking, music is my story, for real.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a mad situation, because sitting there at that age, just looking back at the things I've achieved now, I'm still going to be proud of then.
Yeah.
I've done things that I never thought I'd do.
Yeah.
Never. And like I said, to be able to do that, it just makes me proud.
Yeah, that alone is a massive achievement. Do you know what I mean? So when you were touching upon your anxiety and depression and stuff like that, how are you coping with that now? And how are you gonna? What's gonna be different now?
I'm in a better place now.
Okay.
I think what it was with the negative music as well, comes the hate, like you said. So I think the anxiety was just going, yo, everyone hates me, thinking like, yo, I can't go to the shop without man sharking me out. I can't go to town shopping with my family and kids without man sharking me out. And it come to a point where, like I say, it just didn't feel safe. And taking that time away to recalibrate and come back fresh with positive attitudes, everyone can now look at that, and hopefully they can see that it's a changed person.
Yeah.
Because in the 3 or 4 years that I've been out, I have changed big time.
Yeah, of course.
I've got myself in a much better position and a stable position, which is what I tell everyone to do. If anyone is going through some mad stuff, take some time away,
Mm-hmm.
recalibrate yourself, and come back to it. Because trust me, it'll work next time round.
Yeah, that's
And it's working for me. So, well, just because it works for me doesn't mean it will work for everybody. Everyone else can find their own outlet. This is my outlet.
But like you're saying, just to even come back into the scene, and your first video is on JDZ, that is a massive statement.
Massive.
Do you know what I mean?
I've had a few people message me saying, "Raw, that is a big statement to make coming back on a JDZ." Now, when I've done music before, I know I keep talking about it, but
No, that's fine.
it's
your
just
podcast, bro. Do you think,
it's what it was.
Mm.
My old music is what made me the person that I am, somewhat. With taking away that time out that I've taken, so coming back with a JDZ is just something that I never thought I'd be on JDZ. Like, I grew up listening to JDZ as well, like watching the likes of Socks and them, man, like and all the what were the sets that they'd done in? Was it Nottingham?
Mad sets that they used to do.
Mad sets, and there was like I remember the one
as well. JK and Depps and all them.
Yeah, see like all these mad ones, and then in fact someone that I grew up with on Shard End, not grew up with, but someone that I knew on Shard End, Mini Daps. I don't know if you remember Mini Daps.
Yeah, man.
So then when I seen him with like JK and Depps and Subs and all that on the train freestyle they did, I was like, he weren't even putting music out. Mini wasn't at the time. Like, he was just doing his thing on the ends.
I think he just had a few 16 bars, didn't he?
And he had something, and he just got snapped up by them, like rapid, and he just kind of become this icon for a lot of people on the area that he was from. That was like, like he's gone from nothing to something real fast. And as much as it'd be nice to just click your fingers and be something, you almost feel like you ain't deserved it then.
True.
So whereas I've gone through everything that I've gone through musically, to get to the position where I can come back and do a JDZ, I'm in a great position.
Because you know what, sometimes
the world
I always
is my
say,
oyster from now, really.
Sometimes you choose music, but sometimes music chooses you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like with you feel like, you know what, music choose me. Do you know what I mean? But it's like with Daps, it's like music chose him.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't want to pursue it, because it was kind of like, I didn't even really have my heart in this anyway. Like, obviously, I was looking up to my bro's making a noise and that. But me being a global superstar, he didn't want that. He didn't want that attention. So that's why he's same thing. Shut down all these socials, went off and whatever. Obviously, he's back on social media and that now, but it's just like, to look at him now, the growth and the man that he is now, you can tell that sometimes, man, the limelight ain't for everybody. Do you know what I mean? You have to be mentally prepared.
Yeah, you have to be able to
it's not even about the haters, bro. And like, you don't even have to fuel the haters. It could just be like, my man's girl keeps saying, "Yo, you wearing that geezer, spits bars and that." And then you're sitting there like, why does she keep talking about his kid? You fancy him? No, just like his music. But from there, man's like, I don't like my man. Because how come every time we sitting here, all you ever do is talk about him and the music? So then that's when he'll see you on road then and be like, oh, there's the girl who makes music. You know what I mean? Or throw like little negative things and you're like, man, I don't even know you. Yeah. He knows you and his missus knows you. And then from there, you get a hater, and that is what you have to mentally prepare yourself for everything.
You have to, no matter who you are. You're going to get hate, no matter who you are. I mean, it sounds a bit cliche, but you use Eminem for example.
Yeah.
He gets tons and tons of hate. He ain't the best rapper in the world. My opinion, he is. But some other people's opinion, no, he ain't.
Yeah.
There's blah blah and blah blah.
It's a personal preference, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even if you ain't your favourite rapper, still show respect, because the guy's got bars. Do you know what I mean? He knows how to package a song and an album and all that kind of stuff. And with Eminem as well, he was trying to teach us a lot of things through his music.
And a lot of people don't recognise that.
You know what?
When you're young, you can click it.
When you're young, though, you don't listen out to it. But it's like now, when you're older and you listen back, I was like, whoa! My man was like preparing us like for the whole terrorism thing and all that kind of stuff, and it just all went over our head. Do you know what I mean?
It's like the Simpsons thing as well, isn't it? They say that they predict stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about predicting. I think they're part of the, put it out there and see if these dumb people can clock on. And it's all like, it'll come up there like, oh my God, 5 years ago they put this in the sentence.
Do you know what it was? It was the Donald Trump scene that got me, on the escalators.
Yeah.
I was like, rah, they predict that.
Yeah.
It's like he's wearing the same clothes and everything. It's like,
and at that time he's president and all that kind of stuff.
He's some time traveller or something.
That produces that. us as people, we need to understand that when we see things like this, we need to understand that everything is planned. Like
Yeah.
it's pre-planned beforehand. No matter what, these things are written. And then when it comes into life, that's when we should start realizing that, whoa, like everything that we living in, it's like a matrix. Do you know what I'm
For
saying?
real.
Like,
You know what? I was at work earlier and someone said this exact thing to me. It was like, we are living in a matrix. And it
100%.
struck me, and it was like, you know what? That's true.
It's
Like
about
that-
decoding and
Yeah,
relearning
it
all the
is.
things that they learned, or
It
to
is.
think no, everything was wrong to keep us at that low vibration. And when you start like thinking, all right, then it's time to start looking for things for myself. Forget the paper. Let me do my research. What resonates with your soul, you take. What don't, oh, you let it go over your head. But then when you open your eyes and see what it is, you think, oh shit, it's time to change. You have to change then, or just be one of them people that your mind's closed and you just carry on. You know what I mean? You're
It's either that used to be me, man. I used to have a closed mind. Like
a lot of us
I'd
think
never
that.
show emotions or anything like that. It'd just be, yeah,
But
man.
why was that though? Why didn't you show emotion?
It'd just be. I almost had an attitude of it is what it is,
Okay.
and life will do what it wants to do, and that was my attitude. But my attitude now is, if life don't do something about it, I'm gonna do something
That's
about it,
it, bro. Yeah, man.
and that's what I'm choosing to do. I'm choosing to control my life instead of life control me.
Yeah, man. That's a good way. That leads on to kind of the last question, or the last little segment that I always ask people is, do you have any positive affirmations or beliefs that you live by that you can share with people? If you've got a few, real them off. If you've got
Nah,
one,
I don't. I don't really like live by a code. Now, a lot of people live by a code, but I don't. I kind of just take life with a pinch of salt, and it is what it is, almost. Um, and just kind of, life's a ride, man. Just strap in and just roll with it. That's my only advice to
enjoy the
anybody,
journey,
really.
innit?
Yeah, just
Like in that
enjoy
Depp
it.
song,
Just
enjoy your journey.
we're not
because
on
you
this
never
planet
know.
forever.
Mm.
You go, I mean, yeah, we've been in lockdown for like a year and a half, or a year, or however long it's been now, and again, it's just like it is what it is, man. Like we'll all come out of this, and we'll all be in a better place. A lot of people are suffering at home from mental illnesses due to the pandemic, but not me. I'm just keeping myself real and just keeping my mind focused on everything that needs to be focused on,
Your
life wise.
tasks, your purpose, the things that you want to
Exactly.
achieve.
Like if you're bored sat at home, find something to do. Go and decorate your kitchen or something. Do you know what I mean? Like just find something to keep yourself and keep your mind stimulated. Because if you don't keep your mind stimulated, you're going to be sat at home just drowning in all these thoughts that you're getting, and that's what a lot of people are going through right now. I guarantee mental illness is up a ridiculous number right now.
100%.
I guarantee it. And obviously, me myself going through mental health problems. I put a song out about 4 or 5 years ago. It's got about 85k views, something like that.
Okay.
But that was called "I'm Not What You See." So basically, I was portraying this person that wasn't me, which is why I called the song "I'm Not What You See." So the whole front was people's image of me was, it's just a grime guy, it's just a clashing guy, and that's it. But then when I released that, everything changed. So I went to talking about my mental illness in that song there, and that got so many responses of people who were in the same boat, and it just thought that kind of ignited a positive mindset from then.
Okay, it made you realise, oh,
Yeah, it was like, do you know what? I don't need to go battling Joe Blogs from Leeds or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't need to do that. If I keep it real, the realness will come with it.
Yeah, I agree. And that is a perfect way to end the podcast, brother.
For real.
Do you know what I mean?
For real.
Swifty, respect for coming on the show.
It's good, man. Anytime.
Oh,
It's a pleasure.
before that, where can people find you? Like,
so, I'm not active on Twitter. I'm not using that.
okay.
It's literally just, I'm using Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram.
That's basically all I'm using. So my Instagram's at Swifty_music_, and my Facebook is Jack Swifty Swift.
Okay.
So you can find me on there. Like I say, if you're suffering with mental illness, or you're in the same situation as me from the story that I told in my JDZ, reach out, get in touch. I'm always there to send positive messages and keep keep the road moving.
Yeah,
So
man.
to
That's
speak,
what it's
so,
about, bro. And you know what I
for
mean?
real,
Helping
for
others,
real.
especially when you've got life experience, is the best way, bro. Because
I'm probably not the best person to speak to, but if I can help in any way, I can. You know,
you can't.
I'm no counsellor, man.
I
But
wouldn't say that though, bro, man, because you've got experience. Life experience
Yeah.
beats everything. It don't
Yeah.
matter if you go to uni, go whatever, and learn to be this person. If you haven't been through it, you won't be able to have that connection with the person. I've seen it time and time again where people just close off like, oh my god, they can tell you're talking from a textbook.
Yeah.
But when you're talking from yourself, your own personal
you
experiences,
see, now I
they'll
guarantee that
feel
like
it.
people that do these podcasts, I guarantee that like they prepare before they come.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't do no preparing. I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, the best way to do this is to just come here unprepared and just speak real.
Just be
Because,
authentic.
you know what I
Be
mean? Like
yourself.
questions that you're throwing at me, I ain't had time to sit and prepare to these. I'm just giving you a straight, honest answer, and that's the best way to be, in my
So it's the
opinion.
best way to be. And anybody who wants to come on the show, just know I'm not that kind of person that's gonna. Oh, here's the questions and here's
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just go off the
He just
vibration
rolls
and
it,
the
he just
energy that's
rolls.
in the room. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, thank you.
It's
for
not an
coming on the
interview, is
show,
it? It's
bro.
just a general
General
chat.
conversation.
That's all it is. So like, don't prepare for it for like it's an interview.
Yeah,
Just,
don't be in your
just-
mirror,
just
like
come
prepping
here.
yourself and that. You don't need it, man.
And
Just come and be yourself,
just
man.
get in touch. Just come down. Just be yourself. That's all anybody can ever ask for. If you're yourself, you stay true to yourself. It's all love. It's all positive.
And just remember the ethos behind it. You know what I mean? Walking a mile in another person's shoes, giving the opportunity and the platform for them to tell their story, and that's what it's about. Yeah, that's a great. On that note, respect, brother. Yeah, and all the best. You know what I mean? I'll be keen eye. Like it says, you got something coming out in the next couple of weeks, and that. You know what I mean? So make sure you let us know.
Yeah,
Plug it here, yeah.
Yeah, man, for real.
Swifty, Nathaniel James, I'm out.